from the lush, green, and humid great state of Missouri. This is Digital Homesteading Thursday. It's part of our survival broadcast series. Now, because of where I'm at, I am in a position where where I have the internet connections to be able to do both the live stream on my website as well as doing the green room as well. So I've got you guys up here on YouTube. This is where my camera is. For those of you uh, that are in the green room, this is me looking down. I'm keeping an eye on chat and keeping an eye on everything else. If you miss the broadcast and you'd like to keep up on it, you'd like to get an idea of what it's about, always come on over to hobotuck.com. So again, this is Digital Homesteading Thursday. It's part of a survival broadcast series. Every Thursday, we expose the traps of the digital economy and how to turn them into tools for freedom. Yesterday, we saw how federal dollars hollowed out local power. Today, we flip the script and I'll show you how digital tools can restore real world independence, starting with you. If you're listening live, welcome to the green room. For those of you that are in the green room, if you want to know how to get in the green room, you have to become a member over on Patreon, which that link is down in the description. And if you're catching the replay, you'll find everything at hobotuck.com, including the full archive, links, and strategies. So, why the digital economy matters, and even if you hate it, this is something that I'm really trying to drive home because a lot of this audience is very you guys are much older, and being much older means that you're kind of adverse to new technology and new stuff. And I'm trying to help you guys understand that this is your one of the most important tools that you can use to not only keep your economy together in your local community, but to be able to build a strong and resilient community. So technology is just a tool. The question is, who's holding it? Is it you doing it benevolently, or is it somebody else doing it malevolently? And what are you building with it? So let's have a real conversation. A lot of you listening today don't trust technology. I get it. You're not wrong to be skeptical. Tech has been used to track you, to sell you, addict you, to silence you. And most of it feels like it was designed against you or not for you. The digital economy, it kind of feels like a scam to a lot of people. NFTs, influencers, crypto crashes, AI bots stealing jobs. It's easy to write all of this off as a passing trend or another tool of the elites. But here's the harsh truth: whether you like it or not, the digital economy is real. And if you're not building something with it, someone else is building something on top of you. When people talk about the digital divide, they usually mean the internet access or broadband speeds. That's not the real divide anymore. The new divide is this: people who know how to earn, communicate, and build through digital tools versus people who depend on platforms, hope for a job, or wait for a check. This isn't theory, it's already playing out in every rural town, every off grid community, and every local economy in America is now at this crossroads. The government has already hijacked your town's decision making through grants, subsidies, and top down mandates. You already know that. And what you may not realize is that the same thing is happening in the digital world. They're building new digital control right now, with or without you. And if we don't get ahead of it, we'll end up like the last folks to adopt electricity, the last towns to get roads, or the last farms to get a tractor, left behind, disconnected, and powerless. And when the collapse hits, you won't be able to play catch up. So let me be crystal clear. I'm not here to sell you on becoming a tech junkie. That's not what we're about. I don't care if you hate smartphones or if you like them. I don't care if you trust the cloud. I do not care you do not want to be on YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok. In fact, I agree with you. I do it because it's part of the digital economy. I see the trends coming. And so therefore I've adopted it, even though if it wasn't for me doing this, I would never even be using my phone. I'm not a Luddite. I'm just not a fan of, I don't need the technology. I like to live a simple life. But the world has changed. We used to build local power with tools like land, water, and manual labor. Now the digital world controls speech, where they can say who hears it. They control commerce, which allows them to decide how you earn, bank, or transact in commerce. they've got control over the community, basically how people connect, organize, and survive. And they also have control over records and reputation, such as your digital ID, your social credit score, and any public visibility you would like to have. So this is not hype. This is just where we are. You don't have to embrace all of it, but if you do refuse to engage any of it, you're cutting yourself off from the very tools we need to rebuild real world independence. It's like saying you're against fire because it can burn you. Yeah, it can, but try surviving without fire. Let me tell you what the digital economy really is. It's not just about selling books or launching a crypto coin. At its core, the digital economy is just people exchanging value over wires instead of roads. That's it. If you know how to teach something, build something, fix something, tell stories, organize people, or even guide others through hard decisions, then you've already got the skills to join the digital economy. You just haven't uploaded them yet. And when you do, you unlock a revenue stream that the feds can't throttle, your town can't tax, and no boss can fire you from, because it becomes a supply chain of or a supply line for freedom. I'm living proof. I was chronically homeless for many years. I have taken the time to build my reputation within the digital economy to the point where now I have the ability to I have the ability to kind of pull myself off, out of the streets, and now I own a piece of land. I'm able to travel around and do other projects and things like that that allow me to actually become more of a functional human being. I feel once my land is fully paid off, I feel like I will never be homeless ever again unless they figure out a way to steal my land from me, and I'm not going to let that happen. So the digital economy, if you're willing to make the sacrifices, it's the next boom. If you're not ahead of it, you're behind it, and if you're behind it and you catch that tailwind, you're going to lose out on all of the opportunities. So you're listening to this because I built this show with a $200 smartphone, a borrowed microphone, and a busted laptop powered by solar panels in the middle of the Arizona desert. I'm not some tech whiz. And those of you that know my background know that I am not into that. So I just refuse to be silent. So here's where this gets real for your neighborhood, not just your screen. Your community doesn't need a tech billionaire to fix things, it needs you. Learning just enough digital to create a local newsletter or live stream town updates. Teach others how to barter, earn, or share gear. Record the history of your area and build a local archive. Launch a podcast that gives your town a voice. Help the local seed grower sell online. Or even build a barter map or homesteader directory. The feds are not going to save your town. You already know that. But if you can funnel even another $500 a month into your zip code from outside of your zip code, that's a working solar panel, a new rain tank, a seed bank, or a shared tool shed. And something else that is extremely important about this is that you have your local economy, you have your city. And so if you're bringing money from outside of your city, outside of your county, and even outside of your state, now that revenue coming in contributes to your local economy. And so because you're bringing outside money in instead of doing what a lot of towns do, is just kind of keep the money inside, and that's kind of how they dwindle and fall apart. You're bringing money from the outside so that it increases their tax base. You can reinvest it into the community and do things that are going to help keep the community resilient and self-sufficient, even when everything else goes away, even if the supply chain breaks down to a point where nothing happens. Okay, so the feds, uh, but this is how revolutions start. They start quietly, they start locally, and one expert at a time. So some of you are waiting for the collapse to wake people up, and I've got bad news. The collapse will be administered through technologies. CBDCs will lock your spending. It's already becoming programmable. Smart grids will ration your power. We heard about that in Denver. AI moderation will silence your voice, which you guys have heard me tell personal stories of that. And your digital ID will determine your ability to participate in society. And World, formerly WorldCoin, has brought their orb into the United States, and it's being piloted around to be used as governmental ID. And if you think you'll just unplug and disappear into the woods, you better hope you don't need a bank you don't travel or need to call someone or to prove that you exist, because this isn't a Hollywood movie. It's already happening in places like Nigeria, Australia, Canada, the EU, and it's being rolled out right now, city by city, state by state, app by app. So ask yourself, if the grid locked down tomorrow, could your neighbors still find you? Could you still earn money? Could you still speak? And could you still organize? And if the answer is no, then you've probably got some work to do. Now, here's the good news. Most people are still asleep. The digital economy is still open, and you can still reclaim your corner of the internet. You can still build your own platform. You can still use their tools to build your escape tunnel. But that window is closing. They are tightening the rules. They are controlling who gets seen. They are changing the terms of service every single day. You've already seen creators disappear, such as what is it, Ice Age Farmer. Sites get blacklisted, and accounts get frozen. Kind of like what happened with the truckers. So if you're going to build something, do it now while you still can. And if you're overwhelmed, good. That means that you're at least awake. The key is not to do everything, it's to do something, such as register a domain, launch a basic email newsletter, record a voice memo about your town and upload it, map your skills, barter offers, or neighborhood assets. Or you could build one digital income stream from what you already know. Just one, because when the system collapses, and it will, you'll already be ahead of 90% of the people who thought TikTok was a job and food came from the store. This isn't about going viral. It's not about building a brand. This is about building a legacy that doesn't die when the lights go out. You've spent years, maybe decades, learning how to survive in the real world. You've got grit, experience, and hard won wisdom. But if you don't digitize even a sliver of that, it dies with you. So let's change that. Let's stop being afraid of the tools and start building with them. Not for likes, not for clout, but for resilience, for your community, and for those people who will need a map when the system finally crashes. Because when they ask you, who saw this coming? You can say, I didn't just see it, I built the way out. And, so you understand now why we can't afford to ignore the digital economy and why opting out completely is just another form of surrender. But now let's shift into how, because once you realize what's coming, the next logical step is this: what can I do right now to prepare my local community to survive it? Okay, so let's be honest. When we imagine collapse scenarios, most people picture a movie: a mushroom cloud, a grid shutdown, looters in the street, a ragtag band of survivors hiding in a barn. But that's not how this is really going to play out. It looks more like The Walking Dead, but not because of zombies. It's because most people have no skills, no plan, and no idea what's happening. They'll act out of fear, confusion, and hunger, and they won't be foaming at the mouth. They'll just be mentally offline, completely unprepared, and highly dangerous in large numbers. We can call them NPCs, i.e., non playable characters. You've seen them. They believe everything the government says. They assume FEMA is coming. They don't garden. They don't trade. They don't prepare. And when the system collapses, they panic and then they turn on you. So if you think you can lone wolf your way through this, think again. Your biggest threat in collapse won't be the grid going down. It will be people around you who didn't prepare. That's why community building isn't just charity, it's personal security. If your neighbors know how to eat, how to work, how to communicate without Washington, they won't come for your stash. They will come to help you defend the block. Your job now isn't just to prep. It's to embed resilience in the people around you. This means teaching people how to trade skills instead of waiting for money, showing them how to create local food and water systems, using digital tools to broadcast local info and updates, or even helping each other own tools, land, and knowledge collectively. And also, you could slowly shift their mindset from dependency to mutual survival. Because if you wait for collapse to start preparing, you are already the food. So here's the part most survival shows skip. You don't need permission to start, and you don't need everyone to wake up. You just need a handful of people who are willing to listen, learn, and try. So let's break this down. Specific actions you can take right now to strengthen your neighborhood, your town, and your off-grid community. So the first thing you could do is start a local signal hub. It's an app. In collapse, information is survival. So don't wait for the internet to go out before you start building communication channels. Set up a weekly newsletter through something like Substack, MailChimp, which is what I use. If you go through hobotuck.com, you can get access to my weekly broadcast reminder. I give you a digest of what we did all week long. You can print flyers if you need to, but that's kind of old school, and you're only going to be seen by people that are like 80 years old. You can also do emergency SMS messages. You can do a kind of like how the military does. They have an alert tree. You could do something like that, or even a walkie-talkie network. Or you could also do a public news board at a store, a post office, or a watering hole. That way, people understand what's going on in case the news isn't really being honest with them. Because if the grid goes down or the media lies, your town still needs a way to know what's happening. Number two, you could train 3 people to be resource builders. You cannot do this alone, but you can spark it. So choose 3 people. Show one how to build rainwater catchment. Show another how to grow in containers. Show the third how to use Signal, Matrix, or even email lists to share resources. You don't need to reach everyone. You need to light 3 fires and let them build out. So number 3 is host a barter market or a swap day. So trade builds trust and reveals who's ready. So if you learn real fast who's valuable and who's just talking, because they bring things to be able to trade. So host a tool swap, a seed share, or a skill demo day. Keep it casual, but let people know this is how the local economy works. No apps, no cards, just people exchanging value. I'll come over there and dig up a trench for you if you come over and fix my plumbing. Okay. Number 4, map community assets, not just problems. So you want to do an inventory of what's going on in your community, where all of the assets are, because inventory is step 1 of sovereignty. What skills do your neighbors have? Who has a truck, a well, a solar panel, a chainsaw? Who used to be a nurse? Create a basic local map of what already exists, and don't get fancy. Just know what you can do and when it all hits the fan. Okay. So number 5 is build a digital bug out bag. Okay, not just a regular bug out bag, but in case you have to, withdraw from the system in some way, you have the right tech and the right tools that will allow you to survive and to communicate, even off grid, even if you've got to use like right now Elon Musk is coming out with satellite phones. Like the cell phones are able to connect to the satellite, and it's like $250 for the phone. And because T-Mobile actually worked with Starlink to upgrade the satellites, it's supposed to be available sometime this year to be able to do something like that. So this is why you want to have your digital bug out bag, not just a survival bug out bag, because you may need technology to know what's going on around you, whether it be weather or other things. So download and save offline maps, PDF guides for water purification, first aid, and food storage, local contact lists and emergency numbers, also barter exchange tables and seed planting guides. Okay, put it on a flash drive or an old laptop. Even do a tablet. I mean, you want something that's small, but you need to be able to plug into it. So, that's something to think about. So if your internet dies, your town still has a brain because you still have the necessary resources and knowledge to be able to maintain, basic structure. Number 6 is teach how to make money online and bring it home. So you want to do what's called a digital export and local investment. So show one neighbor how to make $500 online, not for Gucci, but for goat fencing, for water tanks, for a freezer full of food. When people realize they can earn outside of the system and spend locally, they're hooked. That's the survival economy. And I really want to drive this home one more time, is that if you bring dollars from outside to inside. It contributes to your local economy because then it gets spread around in the local economy. Therefore, it keeps it thriving. So if federal grants go away, if supply chains start breaking down and things like that, how do you keep your economy going? How do you keep people productive and distracted enough to be able to survive the crap that's going to go on? And so that's why it's important to do the digital economy, because it allows you to bring money from outside. I have money coming from all over the world when people get my memberships, when people do super chats, do super thanks. Every different way in which I make money doesn't just come from Concho, Arizona. It comes from all over the place, and then that money comes into me, and I spend it locally within Concho because that's my home. That's what I do. Okay. So again, it is a survival economy. So number 7 is to prepare for grid down without fear mongering. So you don't need to scare them, you need to lead them. People will do better instead of going up and saying, "Are you prepared for the government to go away?" Just ask them, "Hey, if things break down and there's the police don't come around and stuff like that, because it might happen, like what's your plan on how to deal with it? Are you going to hide in your room, or would you like to form a partnership?" And at that point in time, you're not coming at them as if you're doomsday. You're coming at them with practical reasoning on why you would need something like that. People became preppers not for doomsday, but for natural disaster. And then it expanded into doomsday prepping as time went along. So skip the doom scrolling and focus on creating alternative communication plans, canning or drying seasonal food, setting up solar or propane backups, hosting community prep drills, no power for 48 hours. You're not fear mongering, you're normalizing survival. And here's why it matters. And here's the brutal reality: if your community doesn't learn how to function without the feds, they will not survive with the feds. Everything they're used to, EBT, SSI, public schools, bank loans, reliable electricity, clean tap water, it's all being leveraged against them slowly, quietly, and permanently. So you think CBDCs and climate lockdowns aren't far off? They're being rolled out city by city. The more dependent your town is, the more easily it will fold. But a town that knows how to feed itself, fix itself, and fund itself, that town can say no, that town can survive, and that town can rebuild something better. So now you're asking, where do I start? How do I navigate this digital world without getting trapped in it? What's worth learning and what's just noise? And that's what this next section is for. These are the 10 most common questions I get about digital homesteading and how it connects to real world survival. Think of it as your digital survival compass. So let's get started. The first one is, isn't the digital economy just another trap? It depends upon what it is that you set up. If you are to a point where you are willing to, um, well, actually, before we get into this, let's see if we have any questions. Let's go over here to YouTube. Okay, Smoke and Swamp. Thank you thank you. Okay, so I'm working on my laptop doing all of this. It does not look like we have any questions um, in the green room. So let's get back to this first question. So is it just another trap? It's we have gotten to a point where we can have robots do pretty much everything for us. And if robots can't do it, we're building software that does it for us. The new frontier, the new territory, the new economy has to go digital because everything physical is being automated by robots. Um, this is an opportunity to take your life's knowledge and your life skills. The one thing that they cannot automate is your life experience and your life's wisdom. And so that's really where the digital economy comes in. It's about taking what it is that you already know that is more valuable than anything, which is lived experience. I have lived experience. I've owned a business. I've been in sales. I've been in the financial industry. Um, I've been chronically homeless, often on the streets for 15 years. I've dealt with the mental health system that completely failed. I've got a lot of these lived experiences that I can now take and I can share with other people and help them overcome the obstacles that I went through. It's not always a mental health issue. Sometimes it's just a personality trait that mimics a mental health issue. So this isn't about escaping work. It's about escaping dependency, taking what it is that you have, that you know, that you've learned, and making it much better. So number two, how can I use online income to build real world resilience? It's about taking the money that you make. So let's say you had something like Doug and Stacy going on. Do they invest in their local communities? Do they influence the politics just to stay away from government funding, government grants, and kind of sit there and be the lifeline for the city, assisting them along the way to make up for the loss of grants, things like that. Are you how do you when the whole world goes apart, how do people survive? Because everybody needs three hots and a cot at a bare minimum, plus a little bit of leisure and entertainment, plus the ability for a community that's cohesive, that gets along with each other, because you got to have friends and all kinds of other stuff. Okay, so that's really what you're focusing on. And when you're investing in the community, you're investing along those lines. How do we make sure everybody can eat? How do we make sure everybody has something productive to do so that they feel like they have value? And how do we do all these different things? So this is how you build real world resilience. In the same way that you've got philanthropists, billionaires, you don't have to be a billionaire to influence your community. You just have to know, you have to create the network, create the community around you. And if you step up and you act as a true leader, then they're going to step up and they're going to follow you. And then therefore you can carve out your own little fiefdom where you can have your resilience and things like that. Hold on, guys. Mm. Okay. So number three, how do I help my neighbors join the digital economy? It's what is it that they do? If you see somebody that likes to have a lot of yard sales, hey, why don't you start selling that on Etsy? If you sell it regionally, because there are people like in California, they would buy clothing that was in Chattanooga, and then they would buy the clothing and then they would sell it back in California for three times the price that they bought it, because in California, they could get a higher price for those items than they were getting there. So you have the ability to use the region and the economies based upon scarcity, because on one part of the country you can get best foods. On another part of the country you can get dukes. But if you're stuck on best foods, to be able, you're going to have to ship that in. And if you sold it, you could sell it at a premium because it's something that nobody else has. There's scarcity there. And so that is, you can help your neighbors take what it is that they do. Whether it be they like to do gaming, that was my first channel that I was looking at getting monetized, was a gaming channel, because I'm good at gaming and I like playing strategy games. I played Conflict of Nations, World War III. Okay, so there are different ways in which you can do it. Figure out what their talents are. When I talk to people, they tell me, I hear them. I say, if you took this and you did this online, you could take that and turn it into an income. And it's just a hobby or something that they enjoy doing, and you could do something like that and it will be highly beneficial for them. Okay, so you can talk to them about taking what it is that they already do and figuring out how to translate it, even be their cheerleader, assist them along the way, because anybody that's in this community that does content creation, we all sit back, we chit chat with each other, and we talk about that. So the next one is, can I replace local news and town halls with digital tools? Uh, uh, the thing is, yeah, you could start a community newsletter on MailChimp or live stream your city council meetings, create local information directories. You don't need to be a journalist, just someone who tells the truth and sends the signal, because that's how we found out what was going on with the schools and what was being taught in the schools, is because people were getting mad at town hall meetings and it became viral stuff. And usually it's the news media that covers it, but we need more independent media that is covering this stuff, so that even if you're not able to apply, you can sit back and you can even give them the highlight reel, so that everybody within your community can sit there and tune to your channel, especially if you use like an information board. You talk with people and say, hey, look, we're going to do this, and we put the highlights up, and we put the full version up, and then not only could you get that monetized and get it turned into something that makes you money, but it could also be something that informs the community and makes sure that they're up to date on the issues at hand. Because we're busy in our busy lives, and they kind of schedule them at times like it's dinner, or we're winding down, or we got kids and we got to put them off to bed. You can't just nobody can just everybody can't just hire a babysitter and go out. So if you're bringing the information to them, that's a good way for you to do it, and you're doing it in in more of a helpful way than more than a forceful way. So mm, number five is, what platforms are good for peer-to-peer local trade? um Okay. There are some sites you can use: Buy Nothing, Free Cycle. There are barter forums. Even on Craigslist, there's even a barter section. So it depends upon what app works in your local area. So like on the West Coast, you're going to get Craigslist is going to be one of your better. Well, it used to be really good until all the scammers got on there and started using it. And then they had some other stuff that happened. But, back in the day, Craigslist is where I did a lot of bartering. If you see somebody that has something, they're giving you a dollar price, but just because they're giving you a dollar price doesn't mean that they can't that they can't take it for in kind. For example, this broadcast is sponsored, is sponsored, and so therefore, and I could get cash, I could get other things in trade, such as, like I want a better interest rate from the bank or whatever. Okay, you can take what it is that you have, because I know that this channel, especially now that I'm in a more populated area, I know with this channel I have the ability um to take it around and to get venues and sit back and do my broadcast. So I can go down to a local restaurant and say, hey, if you would give me a free meal, I'd love to do my broadcast here, and then I can highlight the restaurant and talk about it, because I do both YouTube, and I have my own website, da 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 da. And so therefore I have the ability to do that. But there are people, and I've seen them, they have like no followers, no traction, no skill, no nothing, kind of like Gnarly Beer Travel. And his content absolutely is just, it's for the niche and the genre in which he's in. He has to put a lot more effort into his editing, and he doesn't. But he still has people that will give him free meals by letting him turn on a camera and take shitty footage. So it is possible to be able to do that. But there's going to come a time when, if there's enough dummies that do that, it's gonna close off a door for the rest of us. So be responsible when you do it, and don't be a dummy. Okay. So number six, how do I stop big tech from owning my digital property? Um, if you were on their platform like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, True Social, LinkedIn, any social media platform, they automatically own your content, either directly or indirectly. They take ownership of it because it's being hosted by them, and that's whatever. Okay. But you also have the opportunity to do what I do. So if you come over to hobotuck.com, that's my independent broadcast, my audience. I use YouTube as a way to be able to drive an audience uh, to my live stream, and I that's what I do. And so therefore, by using it as a funnel, as a way to be able to pull yourself forward, you have the ability to build your own platform. So come on over. Even the broadcast is live on hobotuck.com. So check out hobotuck.com, because that is how you own it. Because when you own your digital real estate, in the same way you got to go buy a plot of land and you got the meets and bounds, your ICANN domain registry, and your website builder software, that is everything that you have up there. So number seven, what if platforms ban me or censor my ideas? So this is why you build your own platform. This is why I built my own platform. If you've been listening to me for any period of time, you would know that it's not necessarily working for me. So that's why I started taking my audience off of YouTube and off of social media and start funneling them over to my website, because this is the big problem that's happening right now. You only go as far as they want you to go. They determine your reach, which determines your interactions, which determines your success. And if they can squeeze you out without actually, it's like saying, tell me you're white without actually telling me you're white. It's one of those moments. And this is kind of what they do in social media as well. So you got to build your own platform, own your own traffic. Okay. Number 9, what's the fastest way to start earning money digitally while staying off grid? Um, there's to make money quickly. Well, hold on. It's the fastest way to start, which means earning money quickly. No money that's worth earning is ever going to come to you quickly. You have to set the infrastructure. It took me 11 months to get my YouTube channel monetized. It took me 11 hard, painstaking months. Now, I did make a little bit here and a little bit there, but it wasn't anything to start shaking a stick at until after I got monetized. So that's the thing about getting into the digital economy. You have to really gain traction. You can't just do it right off the bat. Okay. um but here's a couple of ideas. You can use your phone and Substack to offer a local newsletter. That means you're going to get sign up subscriptions or donations. You can use Canva or Gumroad to package local knowledge. You could use Jitsi or Telegram to host paid calls. So I use Jitsi for my green room. So if you come on over to Patreon and you join my green room, um, I use Jitsi because it's free and it's the same as using Zoom without all the BS. So you can also start with a skill such as carpenting tips, foraging maps, or local history, and you could offer it for stuff like that, or you could write a book about your life experience and see if people want to buy that. So the last one is, why does this matter more than ever right now? Um, we've got global conflict that's brewing. Like I was telling a friend today, you have Ukraine, or you have the European Union, which has become an adversary to the United States, and it is its own bloc. So you've got the Eastern Bloc, the American bloc, and you have the European Union bloc, and now all three are competing for power because we've moved to a multipolar world. Because the United States under some crappy presidents decided to squander its place in the world by being stupid. um because they decided to squander that, we went from a unipolar world where we controlled everything to a multipolar world where we now have to work and compete, and that could bring contention, which brings war. Okay, so if the European Union keeps pushing on Ukraine, then you're gonna see some major issues. Okay, that could erupt, because then the United States is going to be drug into it, because they're going to drag NATO into it. You've also got what's going on between Israel and Iran, and if we decide to attack Iran, then China and then Russia by default through agreements is going to come in. So now we have another type of escalation. Or if China decides to take Taiwan, or if the trade war goes sideways and it becomes the only way to save the American dollar is to go to war, um, we're going to war. It's just a matter of time. And if you don't get yourself prepared, because when there's no jobs, when there's no nothing to be had, you better learn a way to make your own job. The digital economy is one way. There's other ways to skin a cat. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I just think that the digital economy is the wave of the future, because even after all of this destruction, um, there is so much technology embedded that the powers that be will quickly reinstitute it so that they can maintain control. And this war that we're going to have is going to be who's going to be the leader of the next world order. Okay. So, if you want help turning your skills into income, or your town into a real community hub, you can book a 45-minute call consult with me at hopotuck.com/shop. So it's in my shop. $75 for actionable step-by-step help that fits your situation. This is also sponsored by openairproperties.net. If you're looking for more than just a digital homestead, Open Air Properties offers off grid land with real potential. It's all owner financed. And not only is it owner financed, she owns property in Arizona, Colorado, and Arkansas. So you can use the promo code Friar Tuck when you talk with her, and she will give you $50 off of your deposit. So find your ground at openairproperties.net. So if you are in the green room, hold on for a moment while I close out the public broadcast. For those of you that are here in the public broadcast, thank you for being here. And we are going to do this tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. I hope to see you guys there.